Okay, so now we are recording, and today is November 20th, 2016, and I'm just busting with excitement to share some things with you today. So let's see where to begin. When the other day, I was invited, as were Bill and Edie, by, I was invited by Bill and Edie, not Bill, as was Bill and Edie, by Michael Dunn, of the Order of the Temple of Solomon, to participate in their Zoom session that they were having with Templar members. And they were holding this in a place in California, someone's home in California. And this particular, I didn't know that, I just felt like I had to be present. And I don't know why, I have, quite frankly, when all of this began, and Edie and Bill informed me about the New Templar thing and all of this, and I read just a little of the material, and then I just had this, it wasn't like logic, it was just like, okay, it's time for, I do need to be back, I do need to be back in Crestone and be a part of the energy that's generating there and this Templar infusion that's going on, the fact that Bill and Edie become a Priory, somehow that fits into the equation. That's like the trigger. That's like the thing that brings it all together. So that much I had in my feeling body, and that's what started the whole Crestone thing going again, and all of this, and my feeling that even if I didn't get to Crestone, that my connection with Bill and Edie was growing even stronger, and that I needed to make more contact with them, Skype-wise, person to person, more often, And so all of this was going on in my senses and feeling. It was very strong, and I found myself, and I finally gave a definition to it. I think Thoth helped me give this definition. But there have been other times when this has happened, but not as powerfully as this time. This is unique in the power and the sustaining of it. It's like, I'm going to call it that I'm in the crucible of Thoth. And that means I feel like Thoth is like this, and I'm in the center. This Thothic energy is around me. It's like a crucible, and I'm right in the center, and I feel these energies moving through me. It's not like, if everybody close their mic, I'm getting some mic feedback. Make sure everybody's mic is closed. There you go. It's not like, you see, I have three ways that I can determine that I communicate with Thoth. One is just Thoth. I feel like it's a real personal thing, as best as I can describe it, and there's a communication going. The second, which is the most prevalent, is a Thoth intelligence. It's a streaming. It's his stream. I just sort of tune into that stream. I seem to be guided or given a little nudge, and there I am in the stream, and that's streaming through me. The third way, it's just that I'm just tooling the Akashic library. I'm saying, well, let's see. I'm looking up, what do I want to look up? Oh, yeah, and I go in there and I kind of look it up and I deal with it and whatever. And I might get a little nudge from Thoth here and there if I'm kind of getting off on the wrong wing of the library. You know what I mean? So and that doesn't happen very often. The main thing is the streaming. I do have what I consider conversations with Thoth at time, and then there's the other. But there's this other thing, and now I'm calling it, or being guided to call it, the cauldron of, the crucible of Thoth. And so I'm in the center of and this rarely happens, and I'm in the center of it, and Thoth is just holding it like this. And these energies are going through me, but it's not Thoth intelligence streaming where I can just pick it up and say, oh, okay, da-da-da-da-da. It's just a sense, and it's going through me. But what it's causing me to do is move deep, 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 deep into myself, into this beingness that is the bottomless pit of me. And it's just moving down in there, and it's stirring, and I can feel things, and I get certain signals like I did. Oh, okay, back to Crestone, closer to Bill and Edie, not only physically, but spiritually, emotionally. Templars are important in all of this. The Priories that Bill and Edie had, this is important, but nothing that says, oh, da 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 da, just these feelings. And that's what I've been working with. And it's been difficult and challenging because had not been getting real direction. Well, that's direction, but not real direction. And I have all my other things going on. How do I get my physical body there? It is going to be expensive if I do it myself or wait for their funding. And I always thought, well, I'll just, okay, the funding comes, and then I get there, and, you know, Bill and Edie will have a little place for me there, and I'll kind of fit into our grandmother me into the thing, and there I'll be. And even when I did the video I did for you guys where I was talking about it, I recall saying, well, you know, I mean, I'm not going to be a Templar or anything. I'm just going to go there and be part of this and da-da. And that's the only feeling I had, the only feeling I had. So back to getting on to the Zoomcast with Bill and Edie and me and all of these other people and Templars, and, you know, they were all here. So we were just a few of us on the Zoom. Most of them were in the room physically, including Unity. She was there. And so when they were talking, Bill and Edie and I had a rough time. I don't know about the others on the line, but we had a rough time hearing anything because, you know, they're talking to everybody and they're, you know, you just couldn't hear. We caught little sentences and phrases and things, but that was about it. So there was nothing in the vocabulary or what they were saying that prompted what I'm going to tell you next. But as I was there, I was in my cauldron, remember? And when all of a sudden, something started coming up to the top. But I call it cauldron, the crucible cauldron, whatever. Started bubbling up to the top. And when it bubbled up to the top, I was like, if you'll pardon me, holy shit. And it was, this is what came, just there it was. I'm to become a Templar and have a priory under the order of the whole order of the temple. And I was just like, you know. And so the next day I called Bill and Edie. I said, well, this is what came through. And it wasn't like Thoth said. This came up from the cauldron. You know, this was a whole different, it's a deep interpersonal process. And it's not a desire. I didn't have any desire to do that. I have my own thing going. I don't need to be that too. But it was like, just came up to the top. So when I was talking to Bill and Edie, of course, they've heard me say this and they've a few times, but, you know, it was like, I was telling them that this is happening, and, you know, they encouraged me to follow through with it. So I did. I wrote, I know I felt a little awkward about it. I didn't want Michael to think that I was like, oh, I want to be a Templar and I want to have a priory. You know, it was like, no, that's not what this is about. You know, not at all. So what I decided to do, because my arm was still hurting me, was to make a little 20-minute audio. And I shared it with Bill and Edie too, but it was for Michael. And I just spoke from my heart. And I basically said what I'm saying here. And, I meant to bring this up. I just want to read you the beautiful response that he gave me on this, because it was just, and it really figures into the whole thing. And I meant to do that. And now where is it? Let's see, just 1 second. It should be right here. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? Just one moment, everyone. Hear it. No, it's not it. Here it is. Okay. No, that's not it. I was sure I had it right here. Let's see if this is it. This is it. Okay. And this is what he wrote to me. I'm just, this is of course a SHOLAR video. It will only be shared with other SHOLARs. So I'm putting it all on the table here. He said, Dear Maya, I feel that I understand as much as I am able something of the inner process you describe of the Thothic energy which led you to the realization of the need for a Templar priory established for your work on Kauai. Now, this was the other part of it, that it was to be established on Kauai while I was here. But see, the priory goes where I go. So that didn't discount my going to Crestone. I'll fill you in a little more on that later. Let's get back to this. He said, I feel I need the realization of the need for a Templar priory established for you on Kauai with a successor commandery, I'll explain that later, seated there as a rainbow bridge connecting Kauai to Crestone. He's using my words that I had given there. I implicitly trust your knowing of the greater purpose, still largely unseen, that may be served by this in the unfolding of ascension and the new Templar stream. My only desire is to smooth the way for this to happen as easily as possible. The energetic blessings that can flow for the Templar work with your presence as a priory added to the already strong blessing of Bill and Edie's Priory of the Ark of Ascension, are a cause of joy for me, and I am sure for all of us who know your beautiful work. Don't concern yourself with matters of form, registration, donations, etc. I will work that out and make sure that you receive everything that may be of use to you. You have been doing high Templar work all your life, one might say, and this appears to be an energetic connection called for by Thoth in the Ascension timeline. We welcome it so gladly, hoping we can speak soon. Very busy times. Love and light, Michael. Well, what a beautiful, beautiful response. I mean, you know, I just couldn't have have hoped, asked for anything better. It was just amazing. It touched my heart deeply. And not only that, but when I read it, I see, up to this point, even though it had bubbled up from my cauldron, I was simply following, like the, you know, like the little moth to the flame. But when I read that, and I realized that I was being fully and totally accepted, not only by Michael himself, but by the energy that he represents, there was this incredible feeling of joy in me, a unique kind, not a joy like, oh, this is so wonderful. Not that. It was a joy of true coming home, of spiritual connection, of bringing a fulfillment, of bringing something back into the energy that was part of my mission in life, not as a duty, but as a pure joy, an expression of my soul in its transition through this entire reality. Oh, it was so amazing. So then I was able to see, you know, I think the Templar, I've always thought the Templar work was amazing and wonderful on the planet. You know, the true Templar work, you know, you have an order, an organization, shit's going to happen, excuse me, but, you know, people are going to go off and do stuff, and the Templars are going to get kind of a bad name over here and there. But the true core of what the Templars represented is always, to me, been something I was very drawn to, but not drawn to like some people are, you know, not a Templar. It wasn't that for me. I have many things I recognize as beautiful of spirit, and that was one of them. But what happened at that moment was I recognized that where my calling to the Templar is, where my joy and my feeling of oneness with the Templar is coming out of the son of Mary and Yeshua, John Martinus. Remember, way back in the 80s, Thoth said, John Martinus, or whenever it was he told me about John Martinus, I think that was in the 80s. He said John Martinus was the first Templar. Now, he didn't mean that John Martinus hung up a sign and said, Order of the Templars, but he didn't call himself a Templar, I'm sure. But that was where, that was the first, he brought things from Atlantis and moved all of these doctrines, but John Martinus was bestowed energetically through the offices of Yeshua and Mary, and the three Marys actually, the Templar insignia, doctrine of signature. That's the word I'm looking for. And that's where it began. And that is where my connection is. And that's not marginalizing the later Templars. It's just saying that is where my connection is, with the first Templar. And I realized that I have known for many, many years, or known as well as anybody can know anything, that I was one of the priestesses of Iona when Mari gave birth to John Martinus there, and, you know, and the priestesses, you know, guardianed him, and then a priestess brought him over to, well, I'm going to just say it, okay, because you're all with me, and I don't tell anybody this, but I saw myself as the priestess Elaine who brought John Martinus to the Abbey, to Glastonbury. It wasn't an Abbey then, you know. And so it all fit together. It just started all fitting together, you know. And then I saw just now, not now, but yesterday or whenever it was, I realized that I had, in another lifetime, like about maybe 100, 200, 300 years later, I came back, still as a female, in another lifetime, of course, to the area that we call Glastonbury. And I was the order is, the order, the Templar order, whatever it was called. Oh, I received that it was that's also the Johannine ray, the Johannes, it's not, we think of it's coming in, I've always thought of it as coming out of John, the Apostle John, which later was the John of Revelations. But I was being shown, because Thoth got very chatty after that. The minute that Michael accepted me into this, the doors were open and Thoth started communicating about all this stuff, And I was shown, and he said to me, well, actually, I'm sorry, it's John Martinus was also John the Beloved. It was the same soul. See, you have a lot of soul layerings going on here. So John, I don't know, John the Beloved, I don't know if he had passed by the time that John Martinus came up, but it doesn't matter, because they probably never met, and souls can, you're talking about raying from the Magna Soul. Okay, so John Martinus is also the same. So it's the Johannine vibration. So the Johannine vibration was the Templar, original Templar. See how it's all nesting so beautifully? And the Johannine church, my original church was named before it became a Church of Antioch, but my own church that was given to me in San Antonio was called Church of the Johannine Wellspring. When I went to a particular Catholic garden church area, I was guided to go there in San Antonio, and I didn't know why. And I was going through the Stations of the Cross, walking these beautiful, and I got to one, and then it just said, "You shall have the Church of Johannine Wellspring." And there it was, and I had read a book about Johannine and Johannine energies by Mary Kane. So I was familiar with it, but I don't mean to get off on that. They're just so vast. It all fits together, So the Johannine Templars were the first, and I'm calling it that. I don't know what John Martinus might have called it. But so I came back 200-300 years later, still in feminine embodiment, and became part of, and John Martinus would have been passed by then, but his order was there, and became part of it again. What the circumstances were and what happened, I don't know. This is new information. But it links to all of the rest. So obviously, this is all meant to be. But now let's put me aside for a moment, and let's look at the whole picture, us, the SHOLAR, the New Earth Star Inner Academy, the library that we're working on, all of these things. And how does this relate? Well, this is not just a title. If we go back to what these Templars are about, I call them the New Templars, but that's really not true. I should stop calling them the New Templars, because they're not new. They're the original Templar order. And oh gosh, did I mess with my pages? Let's see. I did. I messed with my pages. Let me get it back again. I wanted to read to you just a tiny bit from that page. I'm sorry, I did have it open, but I accidentally closed it. Just one second. I'm hunting it down here, getting closer. Here we are. Okay, I'm just going to read you this short part. This is their introduction. It's not very long, and the true name is the Order of the Temple of Solomon. The sovereign magisterial order of the Temple of Solomon is the direct lineal continuation of the 12th century historical institution of the original Knights Templar from 1118 AD. The modern Templar order has been legally and canonically restored to the full depth and substance of its ancient and medieval heritage, and to its original legitimacy as a chivalric nobility and ecclesiastical institution. Big words for Maya. But let me mention here that Queen Elizabeth II did go through the whatever it is you got to go through to make it official. Not that this is some new Templar order, but this is the Templar order, the same, one and the same of Jacques de Molay, and I'm saying one and the same of Jean Martinus. The facts of this restoration and the historical, doctrinal, and legal continuity of the order are presented here in full detail. Complete and verifiable evidence is provided publicly, contained in the extensive footnotes of authoritative academic source references. The Arthurian legends of the Holy Grail, written by the Templars themselves, preserve the chivalric ideals and esoteric values of the Templar order and carried its knightly and priestly reputation as warrior monks into the present day, its popularity in literature and entertainment notwithstanding. The facts of its continued existence are no less real. Just as well-known facts of the historical record prove its accomplishments, a wealth of very little known but verified facts of lost history also provide the reality of the survival, restoration, and public reemergence of the original order into the modern era. The restoration of the Order of the Temple of Solomon, reestablishing its authentic status of public legitimacy, was successfully accomplished through laborious efforts. This was not undertaken to discredit any Templar-themed organization, neither to claim any influence nor role in the various popular modern groups. Rather, this was intended to provide the practical support of infrastructure and legal capacities of international scope, with revitalizing new infusions of ancient Templar sacred knowledge and scholarship. These resources can be openly shared to advance the collective interests of all Templar groups with maximum global impact. All revival groups have a place and a role within the overall movement of cultural Templarism. This principle is the basis for modern mission of outreach, and reciprocal cooperation, with a policy of non-interference and mutual respect for necessary rights of autonomy. All Templar groups which are genuinely represented, all Templar groups which genuinely represent goodness, lawfulness, human rights, and justice are welcome to connect with and benefit from the support of the original Order of the Temple, while maintaining their own independence. As a result, all who sincerely desire to live the true life of chivalry as a practical way of life of great relevance and profound significance in the modern era can now come home in brotherhood and sisterhood under the banner of the most famous order in recorded history, within the fortress of its official capacities of statehood as a sovereign subject of international law. Now, this is important, statehood of sovereign subject of international law. They are legally that now, and they are not only recognized by the Queen of Great Britain and Great Britain itself but by the United Nations, and they are doing work with the United Nations at this time. To continue, properly known as the Knights Templar, this historic institution profoundly influenced the development of civilization, both its humanitarian missions and through its distinctive culture of noble gallantry and scholarship. The modern Templar order is wholly dedicated to actively pursuing the same historical missions to uphold and advance human civilization. Those authentic missions, some charitable, many educational, all humanitarian, and all non-for-profit, are primarily based upon restoring and applying ancient knowledge, sacred wisdom, and moral values in society. Such projects are driven by recovering those venerable traditions as the collective heritage of humanity and returning those practices and benefits to all people of the world. It then goes on and on. This is an extensive website, and I'm going to put the link of the entire website. I did before, but it's of special importance now, into our little chat thingy here. And please, if you will, this is kind of your homework, just glance at it. I have certainly not read. It's extensive. This website is huge and beautifully put together. And I certainly will, I probably will never read it all, and I'm not asking you to do that. But if you will take 30 minutes of your time at sometime in the next week, perhaps, or two, to just go through it. What catches you, what you feel like reading, what you want to look at, just run through it, I would really appreciate it, because it is going to affect everything we do here. Not in an overwhelming, oh, now we're Templars kind of thing. No, no, no. This is a sacred mantle that has been placed upon us in the work that we're doing. And it will affect us in a very positive way. It will give us it's a form of divine authority. In other words, it's not just a title. And I just feel the power of it is so resonant. And of course, I never thought of it this way before, as I was thinking of just kind of being there with Edie and Bill and their Priory. But now that will have a Priory and they have a Priory, and of course there are others as well, but the two of us, the three of us, but the two Priories of us will be able to form this resonance field of energy, between the two. And I think that is another major part of it all. So all of you, as core members of anything that's involving involving NESIA, will feel that. We'll feel that energy, not only in the things you're doing with me, but, in your lives. And so indeed you take this seriously, and I know you do. So this is something to consider and to go into and to feel. And I think you will probably resonate with it, but of course that's up to the individual. And now we come to the commandery. Now let me say what Bill and Edie explained to me, because I'm no authority on all of this. Oh, hi, Anna. Welcome, dear. We're into discussing the fact that you'll need to listen to the first part of all of this, later to pick up on it, because oh, she can't hear us. Can you hear us? Anna? Anna? There you are. Anna, dear, this is a very informative Zoomcast, and so when we're finished, if you could, in due course, listen to the first part again, so that you'll understand everything that's developed up to this point, because it's like a major acceleration of the work that we're all doing together. But I will say briefly that that NESIA, me, the SHOLAR are all becoming a part of the Priory, and we will become a Priory under the Templars. So this is a new phase of everything. So anyway, I was going to explain to you as best I can, because Bill and Edie explained it to me, and if I mess up, guys, jump in. But that a Priory, you need to have an organization for a Priory, something you've got, this and this and this, and you are an organization. Of course, I have a nonprofit church, and a DBA under the Church of Antioch. I'm priest under the church, and I've got this and that, and we've got all this library of my work and such and such. So obviously I qualify. You don't have to have all that to qualify, but it does have to be some kind of an order, organization. A commandery is still a very viable, functioning thing. You can have your work that you're doing, your spiritual work, and bringing people in and having workshops and whatever, but you're not really an organization. You may have a nice website and whatever, but it's not qualifying as an organization. So that's really the only difference between a Priory and a commandery. And I'm assuming if you have a commandery and it becomes more and it becomes an organization, that you would be bumped up to that, or if you requested that, to become a Priory at that point. So when I was first receiving this bubbling up of this, that I was to ask Michael if I could become a Priory, and obviously I'd need to be a Templar to do that. The other thing that came up was, well, first of all, it came up that I needed to do that here in Kauai before I moved to Crestone. I needed to become the Priory here in Kauai. And then when I went to Crestone, left behind would be a commandery. And well, there's only one person I could think of that I would really like to do that commandery, and that's Unjung. And when I was thinking, Unjung, of the session that I gave you before I knew any of this was coming up, your personal session, just think about that. I mean, it just gives me chills, you know? So if you were a yay on that, well, see, he's already figured it into the plan. You don't have to do anything, and you don't have to hang up a shingle. Oh, we're a commandery. You can tell people if you want to, but you know, this is a basis of energy. It's a wellspring. Goodness knows what's going to come of it for you personally, and what your work is, your work. You know, your spiritual work. But for back to how it serves, what came through me is that the Priory comes in, the energy is established here in Kauai, the commandery is set forth, then the Priory moves with me to Crestone, the commandery holds the energy present. I thought, well, if there's going to be a commandery religion, well, I'll just move to Kauai and I'll just start the Priory there. It was just no. It has to go in a certain order. The Priory, the commandery, the Priory takes off, the Rainbow Bridge, that's what I mentioned, the Rainbow Bridge, and the commandery holds sway here. Of course, if you moved, you moved in the future, your commandery would go with you. But I'm hoping that in the foreseeable future that the commandery stays put until other things happen, and maybe there'll be another commandery, and who knows what will happen. Maybe we'll all ascend by then. So, but that's the way it works. Does that feel good to you, Bunjan?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it really resonates. I mean, I heard this, I shared before when I was in France in June, when I was meditating in this special cave. Mm-hmm. I saw this Cathar wheel spinning, and I heard Temple of Solomon, and the Solomon was spelled Sol Amun, Temple of the Sun.
Right. I forgot all about
really
that.
Makes sense now. Why I was given the name of Temple of Solomon.
Amazing.
So it was in my consciousness the whole time.
Oh, that's just beautiful. And Sandy, when you this morning, I went up on our page, Facebook, and you were talking about the dream you had, or the vision, or whatever it was, with the star, the Templar star shining in the sky, and I was going, whoa! Could you tell us a little bit more about that dream, Sandy?
Well, I had just finished my Askia protocol, and it was more like, it wasn't really a dream. It's more like I was transported in my consciousness to like a plain, like a desert, and it was at night, and it was very bright though. The desert was plain. It was a bright night, and I thought at first, well, like a moonlight night, like a full moon. But it wasn't a moon. It was a huge star in the sky. I call it a star. It was shaped like a cross. It was huge, but it was bright. And my first thought was, well, like the cross that the wise men saw, when Jesus was born. And then that was it. That's all I saw. And I had no, I didn't know why I was.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't.
You
I didn't know. But when I read it, it was like, that was obviously, to me anyway, that was just as obvious as what Unjung received,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Okay.
At this juncture, Bill and Edie, do you have anything? You don't have to, but do you have anything you'd like to say? Briefly? They don't seem to have sound. Let's see here. There you go. Uh-huh.
Yeah, just one side comment, but it's important. The present organization, the Templar organization, are centered in this historic line where the Temple of Solomon is a key thing. And the temple is built to work with the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, so that was designed for a specific time, age, and history stream. Now we're upgrading that into the Ascension streaming. Our Priory here is, honoring the Temple of Solomon for what it was, but we're recognizing the Temple of Salome, which generated the Solomon Temple. Salome is more the key temple that we're working with. So at least our Priory here, and I'm highly recommending that you all with your Priory then, look at that Temple of Salome, what it is, and how that would differ or really be more in the ascension flow than the Temple of Solomon. And that is in your site under the zodiac, as I remember it, and Leo specifically.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where I'd found where it was.
Yeah, so it's really an important thing, I think.
Okay, I will bring that up and put that in our.
Yeah, check that out
Because
really
the
important.
Solomon thing originally came up. Excuse me. When Thoth told me that he was from the house of Solomon, and also what would come, the house of David, but in his era as Thoth Racemus of Afra, that lifetime, he was born out of lineage speaking, the house of Solomon, which would generate in eons to come the house of David.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. So it's under Leo in my mystical.
That's how I remember. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Bill has such a bad memory. He's always telling me what a bad memory he has. You know, he can zero in on anything he wants to.
Maya, I think it'd be a really good idea to invite Michael Henry Dunn as a esteemed guest speaker sometime, that everybody could get to hear him and has what he has to say about the whole thing, which he's so eloquent.
Yes.
You know,
I'm a step ahead of you, Edie, because this is what I was going to bring up that I was going to do. I was thinking of doing, first I was thinking, well, I'd just do a one-on-one interview like I did with Peter Moon and the others. And then I thought, no, we need to have the SHOLAR. You know, it'll be not an interview. I never do an interview, but a talk back and forth. But we'll have the SHOLAR on, and they can listen and we'll introduce him to Michael. And after Michael and I go back and forth, and you know, the SHOLAR, we'll have a question period if you want to ask something or whatever, we can do that. And it would be a public video. In other words, this video would be put out to everyone, but this is only after it's official that, you know, I have a Priory that we would do this, because I don't want to go into a whole bunch of Templar stuff, and they're going to wonder, well, why is Maya doing that? You know, if I can't say that I have a Priory. So I'm just waiting for the steps to be fulfilled. And yes, very much so want to do this. I noticed when I went back on the list of who's who in the zoo on the Solomon Temple, that Michael had been in third place and now he's in second place. Won't go into any details about what that might be, but the point is that he's the second in line of the whole Order of Temple of Solomon.
that was just a temporary placement of someone into the organization, which has been resolved and no longer is appropriate.
Right. So that's why he's back in second place.
He gave us permission.
You don't need to talk about it now. What are you going to talk about?
Well, just commenting.
Hi.
Something big has happened with the UN, and I think it affects all of Ascension planet-wide, way more than Templars. And we can, Michael just put out the main announcement of it, so it's available to everybody to read in more detail. The basic thing is that there are refugees that are coming out of the Middle East. They have a history with the Essenes. Anyway, they're seeking refuge. We had the Templar order had a representative in the UN dealing with this thing. Different nations didn't want to take it on because it becomes nationalized. But the Templars are non-nationalized. So that's why the Templars took on the project of handling these refugees. So the funding that came in was up to $1 billion. And so for about a month, these negotiations were going on. But the guy that was running it was beginning to take over personally. Anyway, long story short, our Grand Master fired him. He said, this guy is not representing the Templars. We're butting out of it. You and the $1 billion and that program, we're not having anything to do with it. It's corrupt. or could lead to corruption. And this is well explained in this public announcement. So that, as it turned out, I think it was a divine setup, because this decision to drop the inappropriate, patently dishonest time track, our Templars completely rejected it, said it's better to have nothing and start from an honest position. And as it turned out, everything was in place and ready to take over outside of the UN, and that potential grave difficulty on the dark side, we'll call it. So that is still alive and moving well. And this decision relative to the UN, all nations, et cetera, I think was a setup in the collective planetary racial mind soul to establish honesty and worthy
Templar values.
Templar values on this grand scale,
Yeah.
relative to the whole Ascension movement. So we should be looking at resonant overtones in many other projects, I think. So this is a very upbeat, honest reorientation out of the crap that we're getting politically and so forth in different ways from different nations and the UN, etc.
Yes,
So
I
I
agree.
highly recommend that you pass on Michael's announcement to this effect, because it's in the email as of yesterday.
Really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
receive an email. Is that-
Yeah,
Okay, we'll get it forwarded to
we'll
you.
get it.
If you will, I will have it.
Very important.
Mhm.
We can do that.
Well, yes, they took a major stand. I mean, they could have had $1 billion and done all this they really wanted to do with it and made a name for themselves besides. And they said no. And they actually went to the steps of firing the person, so to speak, removing the person that was taking them down the wrong path. And this is a powerful thing to do. It registers in the higher heavens. It just does. It's a matter of energy registers, not a matter of, oh, you did good. It's not that kind of a thing. It's an energy, it's an energy register. No, we don't accept this. We align ourselves to integrity, and we do not stray from that path.
Right.
And there are a lot of people on the planet right now that are good people that are afraid to do that. They're going to go along because, oh, well, but no, I can't, but oh, I'd really like to, but no, and that's not the playing field that we as SHOLAR and as Templars do. Now, that brings us to the fact, excuse me, that, oh, I'm sorry, Bill, are you through? Okay. If I had my way, I'd wave a magic wand and every one of you would be Templars. But the thing of it is, basically how you become a Templar is, there's a fee and you pay it, and this happens, and because they have to make some kind of money out of all of this. But you see, they're such incredibly beautiful people. They recognize, like Bill and Edie and a few others that cannot afford that should be involved. And he's recognizing the same for me, and he's waiving that, in order to bring people in. So obviously they're doing that. But they're doing that for now Unjung, so that she can have I can't use these words, commandery. But I can't say, oh, by the way, Michael got all my be Templars. So it's not happening that way. If you guys, any of you want to be, you'd go through the process to do that. But it really doesn't matter. The point is, the reason I even bring it up is because Thoth is saying that all of you are receiving the Templar charge as you're entering this with me, and you're all uphold these standards anyway in your life and in your work and everything that you do. We're all human, but we uphold them to the best of our ability. So you are Templars, so there's really no need for everybody to stand in line and sign up and pay your dues. But as a necessity for the legal experience of having a priory or a commandery, we did need to become Templars, which we will, big thanks to Michael. It will just all, as he said, move through and work that way. Let's see if there's anything else before I open for everyone to speak that I wanted to. Oh, yes. How could I forget? The name of the Priory. And I didn't come to me right away, but in the middle of the night, I was trying to New Earth this, no, New Earth Star that, no. I was thinking with my little pea brain. And at night, I just went to bed and it just said, no, this is what it is. I'm going to do a screen share, folks, because I was guided to, of course, I'm not releasing this image until the appropriate time. Did I lose it too? No, I didn't. Here it is. Let's see if this works. Screen share. There it is. Priory of the White Stone, the name for direct infusion of Grail consciousness into the genetic stream, was known as the White Road or Path of the White Stone. So I sent this image to Michael yesterday, or day before, I think it was. I said, Michael, I'm not using this until it's official, but I just wanted you to see it. And he wrote back, incredibly awesome. He said, he was like, so obviously he liked it. So there it is. Okay. Let's see. Come back to you guys again. That's not it. Sorry. I've got to stop the screen share. That's what I have to do. How do I do that? I never am able to figure this stuff out. Just a moment, guys. That's not it. Even get back to you. Where are you? There you are. There's got to be a stop screen share. New share, stop video.
Maya, look at the very, very top. There'll probably be a little tiny green. There you go. At the top, if you can just grab that green thing, that'll stop sharing.
I'm sorry. Let me reduce this. No, I'm not seeing it. I don't know why. Just a moment. I'm sorry.
I don't know how to show it to you.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
not. Very, very top.
Usually I see it, and I do that, and now I can't. Let me get back over to the page that I was screen sharing with you. Maybe that's my problem. I lost it. Let me get back over there, and I'll probably find it. Let's see.
Then you can mention it now while she's still sharing the screen.
I have a comment.
On the bottom, Maya, there's a green share screen.
Oh, it says new share, though. It doesn't say stop sharing. I'm looking for stop sharing.
Maya, before you get the screen off, before you stop sharing,
okay,
I'll say one thing because it's about what you got on the screen.
Okay, let's do it.
Just a fast note, your angel is genuflecting on the right knee, which is correct. That indicates honoring divine authority.
Really? No wonder Michael liked it.
On the left knee, that's temporal authority. So that's really an important thing, and everybody gets screwed up because they don't know the difference.
God, like bowing and neck in the wrong direction, like I did. Yeah.
I'm not a Catholic, but that's what I remember.
Well, you are a Catholic.
Well, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, now I think I found video settings, invite, pause, recording, stop recording, disable. This is very weird because I've never had any problems with it before. And all of it, it's a red button and it's right underneath the pause. Okay, there we are. Because I wanted to come back to us. Let's see how we're doing time-wise. This is good. So, ladies and gent, does anyone have anything they'd like to say? You can ask questions, but is there anything you just like to speak? Your feelings, your thoughts, anything, The floor is open. Just raise your little finger and I will. Quorum. Lexus, Bart.
Or maybe Tricia, you wanted to go first?
I just wanted to ask Bill a question. Would you spell Salome?
Solomee, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Salome?
Salome, yeah.
S-O?
Solomee.
O-M-A-E.
Yeah.
Thoth is saying there's a more ancient, although he did not give it to me because he wanted me to, originally because he wanted me to recognize the solo part, that you could do it in more ancient spelling with S-U-L, S-U-L-U-M-A-E. There's another way to spell it. It's okay that way, Bill, it's fine, spell that way, that's how it's spelled in my literature, but he's just saying you could also spell it the other way. Okay, quorum? I keep calling you quorum. Bill, Bart?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate you, Maya. It's incredibly exciting to see that you will be leading your own priory. Makes me also very excited about all the work that you've been doing, and I think it's very apt and very timely that you should assume that role. And also your name for the priory is incredible. You know, it's resonating so deeply with my own soul. It's incredibly apt. So the Priory of the White Stone that leads us all, and me in particular, Bill in particular, from being on the red path for so long, for so many lifetimes, and now moving towards the white path. It's really exciting for me. So yeah, I'm also very excited about the fact that you are referring to John Martinez, of whose existence I only learned through your work, because there's many theories out there and many different converging theories about the children of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, and you explained very well to who is the author again, the guy that you spoke to in Scotland.
In Scotland.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Where I have it here. I have it here.
Oh, Barry
Dunford.
Yes, my friend Barry.
Barry Dunford, right? That's where you have all the channelings, and yeah, I mean it's all incredibly timely. So that's what I wanted to share with you.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Raven.
Well, I second everything that Bart said. This all just goes through my body in such a huge way and feels so right and so perfect. So congratulations to you, Maya, and you, Bill and Edie. We're going to come and see y'all soon, by the way, so I'll let you know. I have a question, and this is just, you know, it's half-baked things, so I don't know where it's going, but I have this, you know, this temple, the Temple of Ascension. I have 2 bishops and 25 ministers. And I always thought that, and I just started it this past year to ordain my priestesses through, because I was ordaining them through another organization. And I always thought it was supposed to be something bigger. But I was wondering, can you have a priory? I mean, could the Temple of Ascension, my Temple of Ascension, be a priory?
Yes.
And but could I still have ministers who maybe chose not to become Templars?
Oh yeah, I would think so. Well, I have the Sholar, you know, and he knows that. I mean, and aside from Unjung, and maybe some of the rest of you might, like you're considering, Raven, you know, doing something, but you don't have to be. I have to be, and Unjung would have to be if she's going to have a commandery, because that's sort of the leader of the pack, so to speak, you know. But Bill's synergy group, all those people don't have to be Templars, you know. So yeah, I'm saying that. Don't you agree, Bill and Edie?
A priory is an independent organization that is just underneath the Templar organization. You don't have to tell who's in it. It can come, the people can come and go. It's your organization underneath the Templar one. So everything that you want should be just fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and go ahead,
Maya.
No, I was just saying, if you want to do this, I see no problem with it at all. I don't know what the regular requirements are. Oh, am I not talking correctly? You were waving.
I was waving goodbye to Unjung.
Oh, Unjung had to leave. Okay. I don't know what the exact requirements are if you go through it step by step, you know, in a regular way. However, if you're really serious about having a priory, I would write to Michael at the appropriate, maybe not right now. Let's wait till things, work through, and write to Michael at that point and say, well, one of my SHOLAR is really very serious about having a prior ed present, for you. Not that you're capable of presenting your own, but I just as a to go before. I can't think of the word, but I just go before. I'd say this, and anything you could do to make bring this to the head of the table would be appreciated. And then you could follow up. I'd put you in the email, and you could follow up to him at that point. So you just never know what might come out of that. That would be a little more helpful than you're just somebody out there requesting to have a Priory.
Right.
A formal introduction.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. My brain is really fried. There's so much coming through and everything. I can barely talk straight. So thank you for translating it for me.
Thank you, Maya.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill and Edie.
But did you have more to say, Raven, that I cut you off from?
No, I don't want to take up time right now doing that because it's just something I'm not even sure about it. It's just, it was the Temple of Ascension was a place I used to go in meditation years ago. And I was just really called to bring it forth into the world again.
I think it would be wonderful to have that Templaric energy associated with it. And of course, it's kind of a double thing because you're also a SHOLAR in this Priory. And of course, you're also very closely, connected to Bill and Edie in their Priory. So you see, it's all just kind of nesting together. And I think it would be quite beautiful.
Thank you.
Bill and Edie, which I can't say it correctly. I should be able to, but would you please give us the name of your Priory again?
It's the Priory of the Ark of Ascension.
There you go. And of course, they're right there in Crestone with the Sacred On. Yeah.
There's another comment for the Sinclair end of it. It's too big a story to get into in detail, but there's a streaming coming out of Yeshua, the Bethlehem sanction, surfaced in the Clan Sinclair Templars. The Clan Sinclair in the late 1300s, and then the Henry Sinclair voyage, etc., and the Rose Line and building of Roslyn and all that keyed into the same time slot. But anyway, that Bethlehem sanction, the Christic mysteries, were inserted through the three disciples. And that's too big a thing to go into detail, but I'm just flagging that as a major Templar streaming for the present time. And since Raven is on here, I just thought I'd mention the Sinclair connection.
Yeah. Even though I originally brought through the Bethlehem sanction, I don't remember much about it. Could you tag it for me, Bill? Send me something that, here's the, So
well, it's buried. I've moved 3 times. I
don't expect you to look for stuff. I thought maybe you had some little paragraph, something that you could, because I don't remember. I remember the Bethlehem sanction. I remember that those saying about the 3 apostles, but that's all I remember. So, yeah. Okay.
I remember more about it, but it would take more time.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, I knew you were going to raise your hand before you did. I must be psychic. Go ahead there, Edie. Go ahead there. I can't hear you. You got to turn your mic. There you go.
Yeah, is it me?
Sheila. Your name just right out of my head. I want to call you Edie.
Okay. I've got City up here because my son's just changed my computer and he's put the key up here. So is that a sign of something, I'm totally at home with everything you say, Mayor. The whole Templar thing is rising again in me. It's always been in my life. And as you were speaking, the rose came through and it was throbbing and it was opening and it was so beautiful. There are certain things in my life that are now resonating with the white stone. And so everything that you say has a resonance with me. And it's coming into some wonderful fulcrum point now. And there's a balancing and an enlight and it's like watching the starlight. It's like watching stardust come over me.
Yeah, that's the way I feel too, Sheila.
It's absolutely, I'm vibrating with it. I'm aching for it. And I read the Templar stuff when you posted it. I poured over it.
Oh.
And the rose, the ruby rose. I read Bart's stuff, and I was just there with him, and everything has filled me up. And there's one more thing I need to say, just to say thank you. But perfect poise is emerging, and
Good word for it.
I love. For me, it's education. I'm a teacher. I have this educational line, contributing in a positive way, helping always through the teaching line. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. Thank you.
Yeah. Cynthia.
Anyone else? Yes, Pamela.
I just have to share that it brought such tears to me when I heard that you were getting your priority, and all of it resonates. Bill and Edie, you're speaking of the United Nations, and that the way that had shifted is just music to my ears. Music to my ears. I've been reading also a lot of the things that lead up to this, and something that you posted on the male and female polls. And it was about the dew, the morning. I can't think of the whole, it's hard for me to remember the names, but it was, I feel like when you were doing all this, like this freshening dew almost just wash over, it's hard to even put into words. It just made me tear up. And the only other thing I wanted to share besides deep gratitude for all of this is a question about the white stone. Mm-hmm. Because there's a stone. Do you know what the stone is in particular, Maya? What the name of the?
No, I don't think it is this particular stone on the planet. It's the idea is the stone, and Bill can talk more about the actual meaning of the stone in relationship to this than I can. Would you like to do that, Bill, just briefly?
Oh yeah, he said unmute me.
The button.
Well, it's a huge topic. The stone is probably the central archetype of the highest order that I know of. The chief headstone of God, and Yeshua, the headstone, and we are stones, and we build a temple of Zion, and the chief headstone that becomes the corner. And so there's a lot of references. It's a basic system. The Resh Shel is the chief headstone of God. So you have to get into the Hebrew original alphabet glyphs, the picture glyphs, not the block letters, but the pictures. Anyway, there's a regular science. I can do a minute or two here. The chief mystery in all this stone stuff, the builders didn't reject the stone, they eliminated, which means that if you have a project, an event, anything at all, call that the stone. And what you have to do is eliminate. Am I still on?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just put the picture, so you're talking about it.
Whatever the event is, we call that the stone, and you have to eliminate all the mental plane definitions, etc., of your project, and get down to the basic nothingness, the void, which is divine life and essence. That's the foundation of any thought, function, project. That is to eliminate the stone and go back to the foundation of nothingness, of the void, which is this sacred essence of God. So once you've eliminated your definition of whatever your project is, gotten to the nothingness, then you can rebuild it, redefine it based on reality and not just some previous mental construct or action line. So that's the key thing to a lot of the other aspects of this stone symbolism throughout all of Scripture. And it's the essence, really, of the whole Judeo-Christian construct. So if you can understand that and some of the other refinements of it, then this white stone even becomes more critical. And that white stone is also referred to in Scripture.
It
So
really is? The white stone is referred to in Scripture?
yeah, but not at the level that you're talking. It's
Okay.
lower level.
Mm-hmm.
It's high, but not as high as what we're applying here with the white path.
Yeah.
So the big difference in the old Templars and the current upgraded ones, they were mainly warrior priests and had to be warriors to make the whole thing work. Now that warrior aspect is minimized, and we're now into the white path spin on that. And that's through this white stone symbolism, so you can get more deeply into what this actually represents to get a better handle on the white path also.
Michael outlines very well in his document.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm just flagging that now as a deep study that is the essence, literally, of the Reshel Metatronic system that's overseeing all cultures, all religions, and so forth across time, according to Thoth.
Yes.
So it keeps in at that level.
Thank you, Bill. That's very informative for sure. Because it just all fits. It all fits perfectly. And of course, when I first received this about the white road and the red road, the white path of the white stone, which was back in Crestone days, I wasn't thinking about all that, didn't know about all of that. But the white stone, Thoth has also said in this context, is the reason he uses stone, he says, is because it's an alchemal. It's an alchemal path. The white path of the white, is the alchemy, because the red path is the blood, but the white path is the alchemy that shifts the blood from the old lineal consciousness to the pure body function, the blood of the pure gem, which is the sapphire blood. And the sapphire blood, he spells SAFFIRE. And that is also the name of the mountain, the heap inside the inner earth that he assures me is really there, that this heap of almost like spun sugar, and he calls it the Mount of Sapphire, and it feeds off of the Atoma energy field and creates this crystalline energy. What do I want to call it? Network, a fine crystalline network of energy. It's like becomes almost a living body. So this thing equated to the pure gem body. It is the pure gem body of the inner earth, which is the dimension of rising that we accept into our consciousness that moves us, further. Because our inner earth state is our inner being state. It's all connected, the planet and everything else. Don't mean to get off, but the topic, because I can easily do that. But so the sapphire, back to the sapphire blood, the sapphire mountain in the inner earth, and in order to achieve the sapphire blood, one must have an injection of the white into the red, which is becomes the white stone that is an alchemal thing, like the white powders of Nellie's white powders, or the Andara crystal glass. It's a stone, because it becomes and it becomes foundational for the whole energy field of the pure gem. So we go on and on and on, but that kind of brings it. Oh, now I remembered what else I wanted to. I don't want to leave this out, so let me get back over to you guys now that I know how to stop sharing. Stop sharing. No, wait. I know how, I just can't click it there. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and Tricia and Sandy, you're going to love this, okay? So like I said, the minute I received Michael's letter of accepting, Thoth just, he was just chatty Cathy. And not about me moving to Crestone necessarily, but everything, all this other energy just started pouring through. So, where is the one that I wanted to read to you? Just hold on, I will find it. Okay. Don't tell me I lost it. Where is it? Oh, it's probably, I intended to have it up. I'm so sorry. Let me go back over here. It's got to be in here. Come on.
Hurry up. You've had me in suspense for 2 days already.
Okay, here it is. It's coming. I got it on the word print. I got to open it up. So he wrote me the letter, and I wrote him back, and I thanked him. And all of a sudden, usually I end the letter with blessings or nothing, because I just ended. But this time, I wanted to say Anuka. So I wrote Anuka, I extend the ring of soul friendship. And I thought, well, he's going to think that's kind of odd because he doesn't know about that. So I thought, well, I'll give a little explanation. Well, the minute I went to that, Thoth came in. Boom. Remember, guys, I need to tell everybody this. See, when I first came into Second Life, and that was like about 8 years ago, and then, Thoth wanted to have a presence there, so I created an avatar for him, and he would come in and sit in the circle, and it would sound kind of funny if I was a female voice talking for him, so I texted for him, and he sat there as I texted, and Thoth was speaking, so to speak. Of course, everybody knew it was me, but it was Thoth coming through me, but I don't know if he just liked the grand theater of it, but he said, no, it wasn't just that. It was an energy. I'd created an image of him, and that image has a similitude to it of consciousness, and that was the way we were working at that time. So when Thoth would finish, or when he would come in, he would say, Anuka. And we had all of us just going around like little chickens saying, Anuka, Anuka, to each other, because it was very cool. I extend the ring of soul friendship. And he never really said anymore. He said to me originally, well, there's a lot more to it, a lot more to what it means, but this is what I'm giving you for now. And I didn't, question it, and none of us did, and we just used it. So Anuka is an old home word for us. We have a lot of emotional energy around that, even though it kind of piddled out and we don't Anuka each other so much anymore. So anyway, so here I am saying Anuka to Michael, really not knowing why. And I thought, well, I better explain it. And the minute I did that, Thoth came in with the whole translation. Okay, so are you ready for this? Here it is. I'm starting to tell him I was in Second Life, and this happened, and that happened. Now I'm saying, first, Thoth bade me to look up the Egyptian word Ka via divine Google. On one site, it states that it is actually somewhat of a mystery as to what it means. On another, it is stated, and this is quoting, the Ka is a very complex part of the symbolism in ancient Egyptian mythology and represents several things. The Ka is a symbol of the reception of the life powers from each man from the gods. It is the source of these powers, and it is the spiritual double that resides with every man. So then I say, the best I could find on Anu is that it is an ancient Egyptian tribe. And of course, it is part of Anubis, which according to Thoth is an aspect of himself as described in the mysteries. And An is the divine light, and the name Thoth has given to the true ark, the sacred An. So now I ask Thoth what he wishes to say about Anuka. Thoth, the ring is likened unto the round table, for it is receptive to many forms. It maintains equilibrium in its shape and harmonizes through equality within its dimension. It is not a melting pot, for it recognizes the individuality of all it encounters, that is, the finger the ring slips upon, yet it is entirely synergic in its nature, for every part of its surface reflects the whole of its shape. When the ring of friendship, and he started saying, actually, the better translation of the ring of soul friendship should be the ring of sovereign friendship. He says that. So then he's saying, when the ring of friendship, i.e. commandship, brotherhood, sisterhood, is offered, and one accepts that extension, So the two rings become a Vescia Pisces. Thoth is showing me that the extending of the ring does not mean it leaves point A to arrive at point B, but that it is extended from point A to include point B. Here we have the Ka in its doubling, because the ring reaches out and forms, the two rings, it reaches out and it forms two rings that are intersecting. Thoth continues, the Vescus Pisces is the truest symbol of Templaric alchemy, as was given to the first Templar, John Martinus, son of Mari and Yeshua, who spent most of his life in the sacred enclave which is now known as Glastonbury. Anu is the light commanding the day, which is the ancient mysteries of Atlan Egyptos. It is the siegel of the highest initiatic level within the solar initiation, only reached by one human being who entered this initiation, that of Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus. It is the power invested by the Lords of Light, the solar Ishad, into a human being. This was why Yeshua had the power to transform night into day and vice versa. It is not that he stopped the sun from rotating. He simply reversed the order of time for some moments and then brought it back again. This was not done to prove his powers to anyone. It had a far greater meaning at the time. Now I'm saying, well, I'll come back to that, but I have nothing, I don't know what he's talking about. I have no knowledge of Jesus, ever reversing night into day or anything like that in the Bible. I've never read anything like that, but he's saying like we all should know about it, so I don't know what that is. So then Thoth says, Anu Ka is extending the knowledge of the invested power of humanity to reign over its world and indeed its heaven. It is the quickening of awareness through grace of the investiture and not through boldness of action or despotic intent. It is a bonding love of true friendship between the Lord and his servant, who both dwell within the same house, meaning body. So then I tried to look up Ishad, and oh gosh, I don't have the link active here, but I couldn't find Ishad, but I found something else that sort of sounded like it, and I asked Thoth if this is what he meant, and I'd spelled it wrong, and he said it comes to the same root, but it's not connected to mine. I can't open that for you right now because I don't have the link handy. But anyway, I've never heard of Jesus turning night into day and all of that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and I thought that was absolutely, like amazing that we, after all these years, Tricia and Sandy, that we now really know what Anu Ka means. Isn't that incredible?
Yes, I love it. And can you post that on the SHOLAR so we can read all that? That's pretty long, and I would love to have it.
I will post it. In fact, at some point after I'm actually have a Priory, I will put it into a written form and put it out for everyone. But right now I'll just keep it for the SHOLARs.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow, that is amazing because I still use that, and I'm like, it's just always rings so true with me. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. And I do have another question.
Yes.
And just getting back about the light, the star, the cross that I saw. How do you interpret that? Because you said you got what it meant.
Well, there's the Templar cross,
right.
And it may not have been an exact insignia of it, but if it was a shining star that looked like a cross, that's close enough for me. We're seeing the Templar cross, but not like on the chest of the knight. We're seeing it in the heavens. We're seeing it as just as Freddie's saying here, the investiture of, that he chose to tell Michael Anu Ka. He chose to extend him the ring of sovereign friendship. And so he's saying, so back to your cross, this says here about in the heavens. What does it say here? Just a minute. Let me go back and read that again. That part about the heavens. Oh gosh, I probably will find it now. Let's see. Here. Here, I've got it. Hanukkah is the extending the knowledge of the invested power of humanity to reign over its world and indeed its heaven. So I see that what you were viewing there was the highest, can't get you guys back here, here we are, was the highest level of that investiture. It was in the heavens and it was shining bright, you know? And I feel that our Priory of the White Stone, which of course is an encompassing of our the whole New Earth Star Inner Academy, the whole thing. In fact, I'm going to have, when that happens, on my main site where it says New Earth Star Inner Academy, the byline, the underneath line is going to say, and Priory, a Templar Priory of the White Stone. But anyway, I feel that all of what we're doing here, it's like we're now focusing on that star that you saw. We're not focusing on the Templars with the helmets and the cross, and all of this is beautiful and important, but it's our God job, so to speak. I feel, at least I'm at this time, to focus on that John Martinus Johannine Templaric order, the first one, and maybe even beyond that, to what the Yeshua and Mary installed in their son, you know, the doctrine of signature of that. And that is the primary focus, because we're being given the white stone, and that's the focus of the white stone.
Okay, thank you, Maya, so much. Thank you. That's awesome.
You know, the instant before you said it, I knew you were going to say Hanukkah. It just suddenly went.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, and then you said it, and I went, oh my God. Yeah.
Well, we're all just really tuning in, you know, to one another right now.
Maya, I have a question on your thing that you made up there on the Priory of the White Stone. I keep reading it, and I keep tripping over one word which I don't think belongs in there, and the word is was, which is past tense.
Was. Let me take a look at that. The name for the direct infusion of Grail consciousness into the genetic stream was known. You're right. See, what I'm referring to here, and I can easily change that. What I'm referring to here, I quoted it out of a text that's talking about Atlantis. It was known in Atlantis as. See, so I think you're right.
It has more of an impact if you take that word out.
Yeah, it's a is known. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, you don't even need that. Just keep going. Genetic stream known as.
Known as. I see. Yeah, yeah.
Known as the White Road.
Yeah, right. You're right. That's much better. I have the layers. It just take me a minute to relayer it and do it, get it right. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, good insight. Yes, Kat.
Excuse my stuffiness.
That's okay.
So like I'm sure everybody here, this really feels like, I think Sheila was the one, feels like a fulcrum, like this particular lifetime and even past lifetimes I've been able to tap into are culminating in this work. And even just when I had the idea about all doing your, like breaking down your science stuff and doing all that, it felt like a divine appointment time. And so there's a lot, as like this whole hour, it's like, oh, that's why that happened in my life, and oh, that's why that happened in my life. As you were saying earlier about, you know, your Johannine wellspring and how that all made sense all of a sudden. And I've had messages for years and years and years. I don't see things. I sort of just, I think more like Bill, I sort of just know things, and I've only realized that that's a power too. I always thought clairvoyance was the only power. But so I've always known things or heard, like clairaudient, heard things, and a lot of it I never understood until now. One of the really interesting things that happened was I was totally unconscious, but just starting to sort of wake up as I would have been in my late 20s, I guess, and had been involved with a Christian community and gotten very, it was a cult, basically. So I had left that cult in when I was 21 and had sort of shut down my whole spiritual side for a long time, but it had started to bubble up again in my late 20s. And I was sitting in a restaurant in Ohio. I used to be a bike racer, so I traveled along a lot of places to race my bike. And so I was sitting in a restaurant reading The Artist's Way. I don't know if anybody's done that, but this guy literally just came and sat in the chair across from me and said, "You look like a seeker, somebody who's speaking." And I was like, "Okay, this is a little strange." And he flipped over the paper placemat and drew a circle with a long cross, like a long tail cross in it. He said, "This is the solar sun." I was like, "Okay." So I carried that. So I don't know where it is now, but I carried that placemat for a long time, and it's only been now that it's starting to make sense. Like, I don't know who he. I have no idea. He just left. Like, I don't know. Who,
Say you were a what? I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
but I looked like a seeker.
Seeker. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, I've had dreams, like just the connection with the Templars. And I did medieval history in university, and I chose to do my paper on the Cathars, which I knew nothing about, right? Until I was on a list of subjects to do my paper on. So it's just sort of, even when I was asleep, I was still sort of connected. So,
Yes, of course.
the other thing I wanted to add was, Bill, when you were speaking, I don't know if you noticed, but I was lying down, so I was feeling a bit ill. And then you started talking about the white stone. And I was like, all of a sudden, all this energy came into my body, because your explanation of it, your definition, I don't know the right word, but just how you were saying that it's that sort of that point where you let the mental constructs go and get back to the stillness of a project was actually, I experienced that exact event yesterday, because I've had this idea for a long time, probably 5 or 7 years now, of having a research institute. Now, what I've wanted it for has changed, but I've always known like research to me is like chocolate. Like, that's, if somebody could pay me to research, I'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
And so now I'm realizing it's more this esoteric spiritual technology where I want to be playing. Before it was soil, and then it was alternative energies and all this kind of stuff. But again, I started to dive into this, trying to construct and, create my reality through my mind. And I was out taking the dog for a walk, and I finally sort of had this, and I've had this revelation several times over the past few weeks. And I think the way we're all talking about focusing on getting into our heart is sort of just my way of saying that I'm realizing the importance of that the same way, and into that stillness. And so I was like, okay, so I was like, no, I'm just going to wipe all these constructs I have in my mind about this project that I want to have happen. And my real work is to hold divine presence in this body. That's my actual work.
Everybody's.
I came around the corner. I was walking in this estuary. I came around the corner, and no word of a lie, there was a full-on rainbow. And I was like, okay, I think I got that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to, just share that. I want to say congratulations, of course. I can feel your excitement, and I think how you're feeling, like, not that you wanted recognition, but just that what you have been doing is so valuable. It's changed my life. It's changed lives of people you'll never meet. Because the frequency of your information is, nobody else is putting it out there like that. Like, the first time I got the Jesus story was when I read your version of it. That's when it finally made sense.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was
I second that.
Yeah. So I was brought up Christian, and I used to ask. I was always very inquiring. You're teaching me these things. Like, why would a man have to die on a cross to forgive my sins? That makes no sense to me. And people would just look at me. I don't know. Like, they didn't have an answer. And so when we started looking at the energetics of it and the blood and the earth, it started to make sense.
Yeah.
Also, the alternative stories that are out there. So, anyways, I feel a little bit better now.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
So thank you, Bill, for that explanation, because that, I didn't have a rush of energy when I saw your artwork. I had a major, just this pillow of peace, like, just come around me when it was just totally silent for a moment there when I saw the artwork.
You mean this one that I just shared?
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, wow, like, we're so here. Like, we're here. This is where we are meant to be working.
Absolutely. And you have to look what happened with us. I know I sound like a parrot because I bring this up a lot, but I have to bring it up again because it's happening again. The plan, several months ago, I'm not thinking about expanding the SHOLAR or doing anything. And, and we're just kind of going along the SHOLARs like this. And, and then all of a sudden, all this starts coming through from Thoth, and we bring in all these additional SHOLARs that Thoth is requesting that I ask these specific people, and we get all of them in. And then he wants me to do this page on, he wants me to, to combine the core with the core NESIA with the SHOLAR, so they're both all as one, and then put that page. He wants that page up there on, it wasn't just my idea. I had to have that page up there on the NESIA main site, that this is the core team. This is, all of it was setting up. I mean, for many levels of things, but look how it fits now with the Priory and the whole work. I mean, it just amazes me. And so this has been going on, and now what's going to come next? I'm kind of excited, like what box can I open next, because it's just amazing. It's amazing. Yes, Bill?
Just a reference to the white stone in Scripture. That's here's one that applies.
Yeah.
This is Revelation 2:17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh, I will give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saving he that received it. So I'm just.
Bill, I've got to have that. Let me write something down. I've got to write this down. What verse, chapter, blah is it?
Revelation 2:17.
Okay, Revelation 2.
Verse 17.
17. Yeah, I got it. 17. I'm going to have to Google that. I hope I can find that, because.
It's in something called the New Testament.
Yeah, right. It's in the New Testament. It's in the New Testament. Well, yeah, Revelations.
Christian scriptures. We don't call it the New Testament. It's Christian scriptures relative to Hebrew scriptures. All right. But I'm mentioning this because it's correlating white stone with the individual self.
Yeah.
Seems to be in the stream that you.
Absolutely. And there's more to it too. When you started reading it, it was like all kinds of pieces coming together. So I'm going to get that, read it, put it together, and we can share that as well.
I usually ignore Revelation because there's so much smoke, fire, and crud in it. The fall factor, electronic stuff. And I think that our priorities are far enough along in the ascension that if we're going to read scripture, we can automatically eliminate the fall factor junk, the ain't it awful stuff, sin and corruption and so on, and just read the Metatronic formats that are there.
Yeah.
Genesis particular, in the tree of knowledge of evil, scrub the evil. And when you look up the Hebrew, that's Ra, or the ability to think.
That sounds like Clinton administration.
Well, it's a lot of, so anyway, when you're working with scripture, eliminate the fall factor and just read the Metatronic formulas, which are there. The tree of life is the pure life and the Selah nothingness. The tree of knowledge with it, the tree of knowing, gives you Ra and Tob. Ra is the ability to think about what you know. You already know something, but you have to be taught how to think about it to create thought forms that you can create something.
Yeah.
The other thing, Tob, is the grace factor. So there's no point in thinking about something until you've got the grace factor also with it as a foundation. So anyway, that is the primary, those two trees as one. The primary core in the middle of the garden. Well, I'm not going to get into a lecture on how Genesis puts up.
Yeah.
Elohim is a format for the new race. And there are, anyway, I'm getting into a lecture. And
yes, you are, Bill. It's a beautiful lecture, but we're almost about to conclude here. But that's great news, and thank you for the white stone thing, because that's a gem. No pun intended. Yes, Bart, Billy Bart.
I'm pretty excited about all this stuff because, and Bill, thanks for the great explanation of the tree of Ra and Tob, because it's getting clearer and clearer. I mean, you've been referring to it many times in many different emails, but I never really got my head around it. And now you actually did an excellent explanation. So thank you for that. But I also wanted to share what you see over there. It also mentions the same. So it's my official diploma of Sovereign Prince of the Rosy Cross, which is the highest Freemasonic degree that you can get within the most Christian of rites that there are. And it actually says exactly that phrase from the Bible. So Revelation 2:17, it refers the white stone.
Oh my gosh, Bart! I'm gonna.
So this thing over here, it says exactly, because you're accepted as a white stone and you get a new name. And yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it, but this is, as you were explaining it, and Bill was explaining it, it's really amazing, right?
Oh,
and,
wow, yeah.
Yeah, and also, if you take the signature of the let's say the degree of sovereign initiator, grand initiator. So it says serviteur inconnu, grand initiateur. You see the Templar cross. So it's a signature, and you see Thoth trident.
Yes, yes.
And you can see that as the cross that was seen by Sandra Llewellyn, by Sandy, in the sky as the let's say the confirmation from above, from divine authority, because this is what we use within the Grand Priory of Martinist and Martinezist orders that I'm still a member of.
Yes.
And it actually also holds this energy already.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Martinism, strictly speaking, it refers to Louis Claude de Saint-Martin. But for me also, it always had a reference to John Martinez. So it's acquiring for me a higher level of interpretation of the order that I was and I'm still a part of. So that's the stuff that I wanted to add.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thoth very specifically wanted me to ask Bart to become a SHOLAR, and here we have Bill as our resident over here, but other than that, we didn't have any guys in here, but it was a very specific request for many reasons, Bart is including, obvious reasons that all of you by now know. He has enriched our whole experience, but also I'm seeing that he's also bringing in the energies that have been bestowed upon him through his diligence, his willingness and diligence and presence with these orders that he has had bestowed upon him. He's bringing that to us, into the whole that we're creating here. So, it's just a beautiful experience. And bear in mind that every single one of you are bringing your life experience, your path, and not only your current life. I know Anna is sitting over there. I'm reading her mind, and she's saying, well, I haven't done anything. But Anna, you're bringing in your presence of a soul as a soul being and all that you have brought through your lifetimes. So you maybe have a job that you're not really caring for and you feel like you're not really doing anything, but I tell you, you are, because you've brought in, I'm singling out Anna here as an example because I know her feelings on this, but you've brought in through your soul experience and awareness, through all these lifetimes that you don't know about, but your soul does, to this moment in time, to contribute them to what we're building here. Now, I'm not saying that's all you're doing with your life, but I'm just saying that I'm recognizing that in this flow that we're doing here and now. So you may not have the degrees or the this or the that, or have priestesses under you and all of this, but what you do have is equally valuable because it is your soul. And you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't have been asked to be part of this if it wasn't the fact that you have this energy, this past that is linking now to this present to create the future. So each one of you, I say this to each one of you, and those that are not with us here but will be listening to this, so the SHOLAR, are bringing in that richness, that experience that maybe you aren't even aware of into the fold. So I just wanted to state that.
I also want to add one more thing on the degrees or the diplomas that I have, maybe also specifically for Anna. I'm not attached to them. I want to make that very clear. So I'm grateful for having been a part of that equation when I was younger, but I'm not actively involved anymore. And this is the place where I want to be. So I'm not directly linked to anything of the order of anything like that anymore, apart from bestowing initiations in a very moderate way on people that are asking me to do it. But I'm not attached in any way of lower ego to these degrees, although I'm grateful.
Oh, well, we know that bit, Bart. You don't.
Yeah, but just make sure that everybody understands that I'm not at all guided by those kind of things that many men of my age and older and younger are actually guided by. So they want to be part of an order and Freemasons and all that, and it's all right. I mean, they have a right to exist, but it's not my take on the subject. Yes. I want to be in this group because this is the highest form of integrity that I can find in the world, and this is where I want to be, and I want to be a part of. So,
well, we're honored to have you as our brother in this work for sure. And this whole thing about the Priory, and I don't have to say this to you because you're all feeling it. You know, it's not about being part of something. You know, it's just not. But it is an energy. It is a presence, a divine scripture that I'm taking seriously, and I know all of you are. And Bart, I'm sure it's the same for when you went through that, what you brought into your being. That's why you did it, not for the names and the titles, but for the true and what Thoth calls the doctrine of signature that was bestowed upon you, not as a reward, but as part of the divine path that you were following. And everything that you do with people in the outer world, because you do a lot, you're bringing that out to them. You know, you're giving that out to them, that energy. It's like a doctor, a true doctor going through all the knowledge and he gets the certificates so he can practice, and then he brings forth and he bestows that on humanity. That's the way it should work anyway. So yes, I honor everyone involved in anything like that.
Continuing on from where Bart was,
yes.
You speak for all of us, Bart. We all have participated in many, I don't even know what to call them. I have all of those also, and I'm not attached to any of them either. And I don't even talk about them anymore. They're just things I've done as I've walked through this particular lifetime and many other lifetimes and alternate lifetimes and, on and on and on. So I just want to acknowledge here, everyone that is in here, you're all in here for that very reason. We all walk the same path to the same destination. So I just wanted to thank you, Bart, for bringing that up.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome. I think it's really important that you all really know that, because the only reason why I ever said yes to becoming a Freemason and being initiated as a Martinist and a Rosicrucian was actually that I wanted to get to the nitty-gritty of the Christic mysteries and know the real story behind it. And I had to come to you, Bill, via Dan Winter and get to know and get acquainted with Maya's work through you, that I really got to the right place. And through the prayers and all that, and of course I'm grateful for the experiences. It was a great and fun time for me. But it's basically, I think, part of the whole exercise that we, especially men, need to make. It's an ego trap, and the initiation is really about getting your ego in the right place and listening to your higher self. And when Freemasons make the sign of the Master, it's actually, I'll show it for you. It's this, right? So this is the sign of the Master. And it means I control my lower self and I'm working from the heart. That's as far as I can see, what it really means, or one of the real meanings. But in practice, of course, yeah, I mean, I don't have to to tell you that often I've observed many other things instead of higher self expressions, rather more lower ego stuff. But anyway, that's also why I left the group. That's also why I left a corporation, a big corporation, where I saw that instead of being true leaders to the people that were employed there, they didn't really do it, And I think that's the same reason why Michael Dunn is now revving up the vibration of the True Templar Order, and that the number 2 is ousted. And I'm really glad about that this is happening, because this is what I've always upheld as the highest task for a man in general, but for me personally, that is to actually uphold that higher truth and not fall for the lower ego stuff, which of course always involves power and money. And if you fall for that, you can be in this group.
Absolutely.
You just can be in this group. You will oust yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the divine, I would say that's like a divine safety valve that God placed on this world and this experience that we're all living in 3D. And that is actually, if you cannot go up to the heart coherence level, you simply won't go up to the next level of service. And that's just a little bit of my thoughts on the subject again. But
I think we're all in agreement with you on that, Bart. You know, absolutely. And now is the time even more. I'm sorry that I'm distracted. I'm afraid my cat is tearing something of Michelle's up. If you'll just pardon me, Moo, stop it. No. I have to be louder. He won't pay any attention to me. Okay. I think it's even more important now for us to do that. And you know what the Knights Templar did in saying, no, you got to go. We're not going to deal with that. We're not going to take your billion and leave, because so much of the old world order that has been holding on to the graft and the money and the fear around losing the money and losing the power. And now they are losing it. They may not, you know, we think, oh my God, Trump's in office. We could go off on that. But, you know, he was definitely, what can I say, the lesser of two evils. And not only that, according to what Thoth is saying, even though Trump is a real wild card and he's bringing in these horrendous, you would think, people into his administration and all of this stuff, and people are just going, you know, Thoth is saying, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Because his soul history apparently is one that can be worked with in a way, even if he doesn't accept the higher spiritual that he has the opportunity to, it can be brought into a position that allows the energy to wash over him if he's not going to accept it personally and move the planet in the right direction. Whereas if Hillary had come into play, she is solidly entrenched and controlled by the whole forces, and they would have simply brought it back into play. It would have come back in. So they're going like, what are we going to do with this? Okay, we'll do this to him. We'll manage him. We'll manage him. But you see, he's the wild card. So this is great, and I think, and it's great that we have Trump, but it's great that, you know, we have a way now to move past all of this. But what I'm getting to is it's so important for us to take a stand more than ever, even in the littlest ways, on our integrity, and to say no to places that doesn't feel right for us to go. Of course, none of us would accept, you know, these awful things, but I'm talking about even in the minutest ways, like, well, maybe it'd be easier for me to do this, or maybe, but you have to follow your soul integrity right now. And soul integrity is not about just making a choice on something that is bad. You could be making, there could be two good choices, okay? And if you chose the one that didn't resonate with your being because of fear or mistrust or whatever, but you knew in your heart that that was the one path to go, and you chose the other one, you would be out of integrity with your soul path, with your soul spirit. Not like, you know, you'd be doing something wrong, but you wouldn't be following the highest order of that integrity. So that's why all of this is so important for us. Now, I didn't mean to get on a soapbox, but what Bart was saying, you know, it really registers in that way. We can't be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but it's really important just to really focus on our soul integrity right now, what that means, really means to us. It means being true to yourself, whatever that is. Whatever that is Prince, as whatever said to about his love for Diana, whatever love is. But I really mean it for whatever it means to us, you know. Okay, I know we're going late here, but I want to make sure everyone has said what they want to say. Oh, and well, first, has everyone said what they want to say, or is there someone else that'd like to say something, like to contribute? These are just very, let's see, what I would, oh gosh, let me get back in touch with it. I was the last thing. Oh, I realize that by becoming a Priory, I'm no longer going to be grandmothered into Bill and Edie's, obviously, which means any funding goes out the window there for me. Oh, I could receive funding for my Priory, but I mean, we got so many Priories now, we're going to have to go wait in line. So I'm not looking at that. So I'm saying, okay, well, this factor of, oh, well, I'll wait for the funding is kind of like not there for me now. The game has changed for me. I'm in another position in all of this. So my decision is to get there myself, like I did before. And I will do that if that is what, in the final moment, my soul tells me to do, and I feel it probably will be. And thanks to Valerie and, for working out a lot of stuff on that. I have a loose idea of what's going to cost me, which is probably going to be, $3,000 or more to get there. And I have that money in my savings. It's just like taking out that I don't have it. You know how that is. But, so I will do it when it needs to be done. I'm waiting for that. But first has to come the Priory and anchoring it here. And I don't know how long that's going to take. That's another question. I don't know how long it will take for Michael to put that into process and bring that through. Do you have any idea, Edie?
It didn't take long at all, Maya. It didn't take long at all. I was very surprised at how fast it went. So surely by the end of the year, probably in the next week. I mean, it really was quite quick.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Sure, we agree with you about funding. That's whatever that is. Don't be really locked into your opinion until you talk to Michael.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that I expect I won't get any funding. I'm just saying we're creating more and more Priories here, which means more and more money is needed to fund all the Priories.
Well, it's all about kind of being in this location too. That's part of the deal.
It's a complicated.
Yeah. So just be in the 0 point on that one.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know.
You just upped your personal ante, Maya.
Oh, yeah?
For that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess when we get together like this, I just want to stay with you guys for all the rest of the day. The sun would be going down. We'd be turning the lights on, and for me going down. So, but we do need to, I know everybody has things they need to do and places they need to be, and I need to feed myself. So we're going to conclude for here, but I am going to when I put this video up, of course, I'm going to really tag the Templars that were not on it to be able to be a part, see it. And, Samantha and Anna, who came on late, and I understand, you have why you came on late, but the point is, if you could go back when I get the video up, it's really important to watch the first part of it that you missed, because there's a lot there that will help you understand how this came to be and what the significance of it. So if you could do that, I would appreciate it. Are you there, Samantha? I haven't heard a word from you. Samantha? She may be putting her kids to bed or something. Anyway.
She has been chatting.
Huh?
She's been on the chat window.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, she has been. Okay. I guess maybe she can't. All right. Well, anyway, so if you guys could do that, just go back and watch the first part up to where you came in. I would really appreciate it, because this is like a major special one. So anyway, that's what I'll do. And let's see. Oh, I'm going to put up the Anuka on there. And I'm going to find that quote from the White Stone. And I want to get folks to talk about that. And I'll put that up with whatever he has to say on it. And someone was going to send me something. Who's going to?
Bill's going to send you something, I think, about the Bethlehem sanction, and also the Michael Henry Dunn notice.
Oh, yes. I really want that notice. Yes, right. Okay. And I will post that on the SHOLARs.
Okay.
Yes. You had something you want to say, Tricia?
You keep mentioning the Rainbow Bridge, and I keep telling myself, never mind, it's not important. You don't need to say anything about it. But it keeps coming back. I'm being pushed to share this. The original Rainbow Bridge was created here on the Big Island between Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa.
Yes, I remember you talking.
And it was on the date of the very first Native American powwow here. I attended the powwow, and Grandfather Wallace Blackout beckoned to me to come over and sit next to him, so I did. And we sat there and watched the dancers. And finally I said to him, "Grandfather, I have to leave." He says, "I know." I said, "You know?" He goes, "You have my blessing. Go, you have my blessing." And I said, he says, "But promise, you have to come back and sit with me again in the Inipi." And I said, "Okay, I will." So I went at first to Mauna Loa, which is the feminine of the two. Mauna Kea is the masculine. And I did ceremony in prayers. And then I went over, drove back down and drove up Mauna Kea to the top. Same ceremony, same prayers. I had just finished when I looked over to Mauna Kea, and from Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa was this weaving. It looked like a major DNA thing happening from both sides, connecting up. And I looked at it and I said, "There's the Rainbow Bridge." And then immediately the thought came, why did I call it the Rainbow Bridge? It's white. Many years later, I discovered why it was called the Rainbow Bridge. But it became my duty every single night to maintain that bridge, to go out there and fill up all the holes, polish it up, undent the dents. And I gradually watched this bridge go through the earth and become, meet itself again. And as the months went by, it just kept growing and growing and growing. Today, the Rainbow Bridge encompasses the whole planet, the whole earth.
Beautiful.
And so the good thing is, I had a witness. I didn't know I had a witness, but down on the beach, Jumbalo Melchizedek was sitting there, and he looked up and he goes, "There's the Rainbow Bridge." He told that immediately to his people back in California. And many years later, I'm walking down the street in another town here, and this woman stops me, and we start talking, and I start talking about the game, because at that time there was also a board game out that you could play. And we're talking, and I mentioned the Rainbow Bridge, and she stops, and she looks at me and she goes, "You're the one." And I went, "What do you mean I'm the one?" "You're the one who created that bridge." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, we were told that it had been created and we didn't know who it was." Oh. She says, "But you're the one." And I said, well, it had never occurred to me because I didn't know that was an actual thing. To me, it was just something I had seen. It was something that had happened to me. And of course, I had other friends who had heard my story who claimed that they could see that bridge also. Mm-hmm. But when she finished, and she wrote back to them, to the group, to let them know that she had found me. But to me, the only thing was, oh my God. I mean, it was a personal validation, which I didn't really need, but it was nice. But the only reason I bring it up is because I need for people to know that this Rainbow Bridge was the thing about why it's white, why I call it rainbow, is because all the colors that represent us come together and become white. And that came back because you're talking about the white stone and the white, the white road. Mm-hmm. So they're all connected.
All connected, absolutely. Well, and as you were speaking, Tricia, Soph was showing me how the Rainbow Bridge that you're speaking of, let's see how to put it together. The codes of the Templars were brought to the planet by Lord Melchizedek. I call him Melchizedek. I heard just recently another pronunciation, but he's going to be Lord Melchizedek to me. So when he came down, and of course Thoth was layered with large Melchizedek and brought these codes into the earth, he brought the codes of the Grail family, which are intrinsically the codes of the Templars, because it comes out of that. The codes of the Templars comes out of the codes of what we're calling the Grail family. And so they were established, they were brought down in Lemuria, Mu. Well, what is left of Mu? The Hawaiian Islands and the, Easter Island, but here we are. So they brought it down here. It's in the island. So when the Rainbow Bridge was established, and of course it went everywhere, but the codes of the Templars are intrinsically placed in these islands in a way that now, if the Priory comes, the White Stone Priory is established here. That's why I thought, well, let me just get over there and we'll establish it there. We have Unjung's commandery here or whatever, and it doesn't matter. I don't have to wait for that. And it was, no, you must do this first. Because then, he said, then it can travel the Rainbow Bridge to Crestone. So if it's incorporated in the Priory here, then it travels there. So basically what it's saying, Bill and Edie and everyone else, is that it would be traveling it would be carried from the Rainbow Bridge, from the codes of Mu they're needing to go there, to the Sacred On, to the Crest and the Stone, to, it just would be carried there. So to me, that's kind of a confirmation that it's going to get there somehow. I just can't see my little body doing it, but somehow I'm going to do it, I guess, but that's what I'm seeing in regard to what you just said, Tricia, about the Rainbow Bridge.
And Maya, that's also what you talked about earlier, that you don't go from point A to B as much as you include point A and B.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, yeah. Okay. I see it. Oh, wow. I know that's one of my favorite words, but when you cannot encompass anything else, you have to say, wow. Okay, my dears, I've got to go eat. I'm shriveling up as we speak. So this has been incredibly wonderful. Love to you all. And this video will be going up and letting all the other Templars be able to watch it and view it. And of course, Samantha and Anna can watch the first part. So, love to everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, I gotta turn off my recording.